Reporting live from Hypers Club in Atlanta, 5 Plus News, I'm Janaba. After several days of backlash, tennis player Jelena Ostapenko appears to be regretting her choice of words towards fellow tennis player Taylor Townsend. Now, if you haven't heard about this story, things would begin at the US Open match featuring the Latvian tennis player against the American player Townsend, as the two would exchange a few words with one another after their match. Now, Townsend would go on to take home the victory, winning 7-5 and 6-1. But according to People magazine, after the two shook hands, Ostapenko told Townsend she should have apologized for a shot that clipped the top of the net, but stayed in play.
To the finish with a flourish there, and didn't she just do so very well to handle the loss between these two?
For those who don't know, tennis etiquette typically calls for a player to say sorry when that happens. Now, footage shared by ESPN captured Townsend declining to apologize, and at this point, tensions would naturally rise. Several social media clips would go on to show Ostapenko telling Townsend, "You have no class, you have no education," while pointing at her. Now, during her post-match interview, Townsend would address the moment, telling ESPN, "There's no beef, but again, like you guys saw, I didn't back down because you're not going to insult me, especially after I carried myself a certain type of way with nothing but respect. If I show respect to you, I expect respect as well. That's just the fact of the matter." Now, of course, with all the criticism being thrown at Ostapenko's way, along with allegations of racism, she would go on to decide to respond via her Instagram stories. Online, she would write, "Just a small update with the match. Today after the match, I told my opponent that she was very disrespectful after she had a net ball in a very deciding moment and didn't say sorry. But her answer was that she doesn't have to say sorry at all. There are some rules in tennis which most of the players follow, and it is the first time ever that this happened to me on tour. If she plays in her homeland, it doesn't mean that she can behave and do whatever she wants." In the beginning of the match, all players are supposed to start warm-up on the baseline. The opponent came out and straight away started the warm-up at then, which is very disrespectful and against the rules of a tennis match. Wow, how many messages I received that I am racist. I was never racist in my life, and I respect all nations of people in the world. For me, it doesn't matter where you come from. There are some rules in tennis, and unfortunately, when the crowd is with you, you can't use it in a disrespectful way to your opponent." Now, after the match, Townsend was asked if she thought Ostapenko's comments had any racial undertones, given that tennis is known for being an exclusive, predominantly white space. Taylor would go on to say she couldn't speak on Ostapenko's intentions. Now, that wouldn't stop the rest of the internet from talking and calling out Ostapenko. When the Shade Room would go on to share this story, one social media user would comment under the post by writing, "These Eastern European women really can't handle losing to Black American women. I'm with Taylor Townsend all the way." Another social media user would say, "They can't stand feeling beneath us because they've been conditioned to believe they're above us. Their tantrums when their bubbles get burst are so satisfying. I'm glad Taylor packed her up and sent her on her miserable way." Another online user would write, "One thing about a Karen, accountability is never in their vocabulary. Now you're reaching for reasons to excuse your behavior other than owning you lost your match. You were upset. You didn't know how to regulate your emotions, so you lashed out. Simple." While one more would jokingly write, "Do I need to point out the grammatical errors that make her look uneducated?" Now, over the weekend, Ostapenko, after some time reflecting, has now finally apologized for the words she used. Over on her Instagram, she would write, "I wanted to apologize for some of the things I said during my second round singles match. English is not my native language, so when I said education, I was speaking only about what I believe as tennis etiquette. But I understand how the words I use could have offended many people beyond the tennis court. I appreciate the support as I continue to learn and grow as a person and as a tennis player. Goodbye, New York, and I look forward to being back next year. Now, as the apology would circulate online, many of Townsend's fans would point out that the apology failed to directly apologize to Taylor. Over in the comments of ESPN Women, veteran actress Holly Robinson Peete would write, "She didn't apologize to Taylor." Now, when it finally came down to how Taylor felt about the apology, she would go on to express that she thought it was nice and hopes that Ostapenko has learned a lesson from the situation. So what are your thoughts about Helena Ostapenko telling Taylor Townsend she has no class or education? And do you think her apology was good enough? Stay up to date for the latest news in comedy, culture, and sports by subscribing here to our YouTube channel and follow Hype Plus across all social media. Reporting live from Hyper Clubhouse in Atlanta for Hype Plus News, I'm John Abba.